Let's say China.
China.
China. China.
There are next door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You go over to China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump statement, tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Yes, hello. It is me, James Andrews, and you are listening to So This Happened, voted the best news by my friend, John. It is Thursday, the 11th of May, 2017, and it's been another absolutely crazy day in Washington. James Comey, the story that will not go away. And we'll get to that. But first, I want to touch on an executive order that Donald Trump signed today. This is the Cyber Security Executive Order. It's a thing he's been promising since he got elected, and today he went ahead and signed it. The executive order focuses on 3 US cybersecurity priorities, and those are to protect federal networks, to protect critical infrastructure, and to protect the US public. Now, the first two, I'm absolutely fine with. I think they're good things. To protect the federal networks, you're looking at 190 federal agencies that all use essentially different systems, and what this order is going to do is it's going to make it so that it's completely centralized and loaded up to the cloud so that anybody from any of these agencies can access, and they can just better talk with each other. Now, the cloud may have some issues, but that aside, if they can sort it out, that's fine. Now, as far as critical infrastructure goes, we're looking at sort of the electricity grid, the water grid, financial healthcare, telecommunication systems. It's going to look at what is vulnerable in them to possible cyber attacks and really strengthen them up and fix them. So that's great. The third, and this is where I have a question. Trump is calling for developing a set of policies to protect US consumers on the internet. Now, that sounds, on the surface, that's quite good. But today, in the White House press conference, without Sean Spicer, unfortunately, it was Huckabee's little girl that was there today, and God, she's really annoying, by the way. If you get to watch, I thought Sean Spicer was annoying. Huckabee Sanders is by far more annoying. But anyway, I digress. At the very beginning of the press conference, the Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert came out to preview this executive order, and he talked about all 3 aspects of it. And the third aspect, listen to what he says here, and then let's talk about it.
It speaks to not only the need to develop the norms in the interoperable open communication system that is the internet. The United States invented the internet, and it's time to maintain our values on it.
Whoa. Let's listen to that one bit again. See if you pick up on this.
The United States invented the internet, and it's time to maintain our values on it.
Did you hear what I heard? He just said the United States invented the internet, and it's time to impose our values on it.
The United States invented the internet, and it's time to maintain our values on it.
You know, I don't think I even have to continue talking about that. I'm just going to let that phrase sink in. It's almost chilling. And while you're busy deleting all that porn that's on your hard drive, just in case right now, let's turn our attention to James Comey. Like I said at the beginning, the story that refuses to go away. It got even more confusing today. The White House and the President and the FBI are contradicting each other. It's this sort of web that's just getting weaved, and nobody really knows what's coming out. Now, yesterday, the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, wrote up a formal recommendation to Donald Trump to fire James Comey, which Donald Trump then took and fired James Comey. So the story yesterday coming out of the White House and from Vice President Pence, Daddy Pence, was that with this recommendation from Rosenstein, the president fired James Comey. Well, today the president himself said, no, it actually had nothing at all to do with that. I had already decided to fire Comey, and it didn't matter what the deputy AG said, I was going to fire him. It had the White House doing a spin around today, trying to get this out, saying, well, no, we knew, we just didn't know, and then we knew, but then we didn't know, and then, no, there's nothing confusing about this. It was sort of, we had the information, but we didn't have all the information. Now we've got all the information, and then the information we had yesterday was all the information we had yesterday, but today we have a little bit more information. We're going to put that on there, even though it seems to completely contradict what we said yesterday. It actually doesn't. It's the same thing. He's fired. And that is literally what they did. He's fired. End of story. Not a big deal. This is very simple. Well, it's not very simple because he was fired for investigating the president, who, by the way, was told on 3 occasions apparently that he was not being investigated by James Comey himself, which is raising some interesting legal questions because the President of the United States is not supposed to have any contact with the director of the FBI about an investigation that they may be part of to keep politics out of justice. And then to make things even more confusing, as if it wasn't confusing enough, the White House also said that people in the FBI had lost confidence in James Comey, and that was another reason they were firing them. Well, today, the acting FBI director, Andrew McCabe, came out and refuted those claims and said, no, James Comey was very well respected. In fact, he said, I hold Director Comey in the absolute highest regard. I have the highest respect for his considerable abilities and his integrity. Oh, it's exhausting keeping up with this. It's absolutely exhausting. And then, to make things even more colourful, here is what the president said about James Comey.
Look, he's a showboat. He's a grandstander. The FBI has been in turmoil. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. You take a look at the FBI a year ago. It was in virtual turmoil less than a year ago. It hasn't recovered from that.
Yeah, so there he is, the biggest showboat of all time, complaining that James Comey was a showboater, and then going on to say that the FBI was in turmoil, no one liked him, but we just heard from the acting director of the FBI saying, no, James Comey was very well respected, and we all really liked him. And let's look at a timeline, shall we? Because this really only makes sense when we look at a timeline. The White House is now saying that President Trump has wanted to fire Comey since he was elected president. But that's bullshit, and I'll prove it to you now. Here is what Donald Trump said about James Comey during the election.
And it took guts for Director Comey to make the move that he made in light of the kind of opposition he had where they're trying to protect her from criminal prosecution. You know that. Good job by the FBI.
I have respect that the FBI has given it a second chance.
The FBI, and I give them a lot of credit because they're fighting forces that they're not supposed to be fighting. There's little doubt that FBI Director Comey and the great special agents of the FBI will be able to collect more than enough evidence to garner indictments against Hillary Clinton. Oh, and there's James.
And so, yeah, that sounds exactly like somebody you want to fire, right? So let's look at the timeline a bit more. So we know now that Donald Trump loved James Comey in November when he won the election. He was fantastic. You helped me win the election. You were going to pin all that information on Hillary Clinton. You're fantastic. Well, then we move forward to March of this year, when James Comey said that there was an investigation into the Trump administration and Russia. Ever since then, the relationship has gone downhill until yesterday he was fired. So, again, bullshit. And now I want to turn our attention away from the US to Eastern Europe, to Chechnya, which is a part of the Russian Republic. There have been reports, very disturbing reports, coming out of Chechnya about homosexual men being rounded up and taken to detention camps. And there's not been very much of this in the news. We've been so overwhelmed by reports of Russian leaks in our own government and corruption there, that this is a story which hasn't made huge amounts of waves, and I do want to talk about it for a while because it's very, very disturbing. It's been alleged that over 100 gay Chechen men have been detained and possibly 3 killed. Amnesty International are saying that number could actually be quite a bit higher than that. Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, came out and called the reports utterly barbaric. And Angela Merkel is trying to persuade Vladimir Putin to investigate what is actually happening there in Chechnya. Now, there's a recording here from a man who was in one of these concentration camps in Chechnya. He's speaking Russian, and I will translate over the top of him. And it's a little bit disturbing, so I apologize for that, but I think it is something that is important for us to hear. When they brought me in, I denied everything. They started to beat me, to use electric shock, to threaten me. They said they would find out everything anyway, so I should tell the truth. And that's the kind of intolerance that is unacceptable in this world. 100% unacceptable. And I urge all of you to go to amnestyinternational.org, and there is a petition on there which is going straight to Putin and the government to urge him to investigate into what is happening in Chechnya. This is something that the Chechnyan government is denying wholeheartedly, saying not happening, it's not true. But the reports coming out of Chechnya suggest that it is absolutely 100% happening. So go to Amnesty International's website, sign the petition. Let's try and make something good, shall we? Let's do something good. And I'm trying to find something light to end on, just so we're not left with all this craziness. And so the only thing I found which is funny is Betsy DeVoe, which I know it's just funny saying that name, and then Education Secretary Betsy DeVoe. That could be the joke. But no, she was at the Bethune-Cookman University commencement, which is a historically black university, and she got her arse booed off the stage. And I'm just going to play it because it'll put a smile on your face.
Dr. Jackson, Board of Trustees, thank you so very, very much for this great honor and privilege. I am honored to become a Wildcat. And it's a real honor and privilege to be with you as we celebrate the Bethune-Cookman University class of 2017. Congratulations to all of you. In addition to the graduates, there are so many people deserving of special recognition today. Parents, I'd like to ask all the moms who are here celebrating their graduates to stand right now and be recognized. Moms, please stand up. You as we celebrate the Bethune-Cookman University. And all the dads, please stand up. Grandparents, family members, friends of graduates, thank you for your effort in getting them to this point. First Lady Florence Jackson, Chairman Petrock, members of the board, Provost Walrun.
Well, I hope that gave you as big a chuckle as it did to me. Now, I got an email this morning from Trump Vader, and he is not going to be able to be here today. He's got a little bit of things to deal with right now, so he's not here. He sends his apologies. He promises he'll be back tomorrow. And, well, it's about time for me to say goodbye. So, thank you so much for listening, and have a great day. Follow me on Twitter at SoThisHappened, and don't forget to subscribe and like on iTunes and Google Play, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
I did not have sexual